rain, I'm making it snow. Work the pole, I got the bang bro. I'ma say that I prefer them no clothes. I'm into that, I love women exposed. She threw it back at me, I gave her more. Cash ain't a problem, I know where it goes. She had them apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. The whole club was looking at her. She hit the floor. Next thing you know, shawty got low. It's wet pants and the Reebok with the strap. She turned around and gave that big booty a slap. She hit the floor. Next thing you know, shawty got low.
Welcome to everyone that's just walking in now. We're starting a party early in the morning. It's the breakfast party. If you've just walked in the last 5 minutes, give me a hand clap. Clap, 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 clap. Look, you have to put your cell phones down. No social media right now. It's the breakfast party. She's got the spirit.
I'm boring, so I'm taking my time on my ride. I'm boring, so I'm taking my time on my ride. Taking my time on my ride. Taking my time on my ride. Taking my time on. Taking my
Party rock! Yeah. Woo! Let's go.
Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time.
Yeah.
And we gon' make you lose.
It's all about a good time this morning.
Everybody just have a good time. Party rock is in the house tonight.
Oh,
Everybody just have a good time.
I can feel this
And we
beat.
gon' make you lose your mind.
Yeah.
We just wanna
I see you.
shake that.
When I walk in the spot, this is what I see. Everybody stops and staring at me. I got passion in my pants and I ain't afraid to show it, show it, show it, show it.
I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it.
It's going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Let's make a night you won't remember. I'll be the one you won't forget.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. These biggity boys are diggity dog. I have them like Miley Cyrus, clothes off, twerking in their bras and thongs. Face down, booty up. That's the way we like the wood. I'm sicker than an oil spill. She say she won't, but I bet she will. Timber. Swing your partner round and round, and then the night is going down. One more shot, another round, and then the night is going down. Swing your partner round and round, and then the night is going down. One more shot, another round, and then the night is going
It's
down.
going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Let's make a night you won't remember. I'll be the one you won't forget. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Let's make a night you won't remember. I'll be the one you won't forget.
Come on, baby, and drop it. Scrub the flow and just mop it. Show these gangsters how you pop lock it. Don't care what you got in your pocket. I beat the way that you rockin' with that thing. Girl, stop it. Wanna just bang, bang, and pop it. While the club crowd are just watching. Work it out. Got a gang of cash and it's going all on the ball. Now work it out. And it's going fast cause I feel like a superstar.
There are more people in here now. So I want to do another roll call. I want you on the count of 3. I want to see who's in here. 1, 2, 3. Who's in here? Oh, that was like level 2. We have to go to level 10. So look, I'll try it one more time. We have way more people in here now. On the count of 3, I want to see who's in here. 1, 2, 3. Better.
Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard, keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard, keep partying like it's your job.
So I'll put my faith in something unknown. Living on something nothing, but I'm tired of hope with nothing to hold. Living on something nothing, and it's hard to learn, and it's hard to learn. But you're giving me such sweet nothing, sweet nothing, sweet nothing. You're giving me such sweet nothing.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said, shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, shut up and dance with me. We were victims of the night, the chemical, physical, kryptonite.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to begin. Thank you.
She took my arm. I don't know how it happened. We took the floor and she said, oh, don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said, shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said, shut up.
Okay, I want to try something. A little crowd participation right now. Everyone look at me. Everyone look at me, and when I tell you to, put your hands up in the air, all right? One hand, just one hand this time. Ready? Put one hand up like this. Everyone. We're gonna start to the right. We're gonna start to the left. Ready? Follow me, follow me. To the sound. Ready? To the sound. Very good. I like you. It's going faster. Faster. Good job. Let's wake up this morning. Keep waving, keep waving. Now, right now, this is where I want you to clap to the beat. Ready? Clap, 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 clap. Everybody, clap, clap. There you go. Put your phones down. Clap. Clap, 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 clap. Let's do it. Now hands up, now hands up. Hands, hands, hands up. Everybody cheer! Follow the instructions now. Make some noise! The left side of the room, all the way to the left, make some noise. Uh-oh. Right side, we gotta see what we do. Right side, make some noise. That's this side. The right side beat the left side. The right side beat the left side. Middle of the room, make some noise. Now, every single person in the room, make some noise. Very nice, you woke up. Count down with me. Oh, wait. Louder. It wasn't good enough, so louder. One more time, louder. Louder. Okay, we got better. Let's count down. 10. Out loud. 9. 8. Louder. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1.
We got the magic thing. We got the magic thing. Like the way you work it. This is how we do it. Like the way you work it. Like the way you work it, work it, work it.
Let me work it.
I got it, you got it. We got the magic.
This is how we do it.
I got it, you got it. We got the magic.
This is how we do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President and CEO Splunk, Doug Merritt.
Welcome to the largest Conf ever, Conf 2017. Being backstage and watching you guys get pumped up and fired up and applause off the charts. I gotta tell you, every single Splunker here couldn't be more excited to be here with you this week, learning from you, helping you, getting to host you and spend time with you. What a great, great group. All right, for those of you that know me, I know you guys have been warmed up, but I still want to do a little bit of warm up and get to know everybody. Let's start with a super simple question. How many people in this audience have been to 5ormore.com? Stand up and stay standing. 5 or more. Woo! Okay, stay standing. How about those of you with 3or4.coms under your belt? Join those. Awesome. Two-time veterans. Who's in the audience? Fantastic. Thank you all for your being alumni. Stay standing. Now look around. Everybody else is an FTR. First time run, brand new. You guys are getting ready to join the best family you can imagine, the most allegiant people. Why don't you guys join everybody else? Welcome to .conf. All right, you can sit back down. You all are the reason that we're here. We truly get inspired by you every single day. I have never been fortunate enough to be part of a community like this Splunk community. Thank you for all that you do. All righty, let's get going. And I want to start with, I know the slide will change eventually. There we go. I want to start by recognizing that it takes a village to put on a show like this. There have been teams of people working for 6+ months to put on this event for you, and I want to thank everyone that participated. I also want to call out our 71 partner sponsors. Without you and your support, and you walking side by side with Splunk every single day to help our customers understand Splunk and get value, it just wouldn't be possible to build this type of enthusiasm and capability. And I probably don't have to encourage you, but all the customers out there, get a chance to go to the Source Pavilion. It is epic. I got to walk the floor last night, and it really gives you a chance to feel what kind of applications and capability is being driven that you can take advantage of. So don't forget the Source Pavilion. I also want to specifically call out our PETA sponsors this year: Accenture, AWS, Booz Allen Hamilton, Cisco, Dell EMC, and Palo Alto Networks. Without your extraordinary commitment, this wouldn't be possible either, and every single person here feels it and feels the value that you are bringing to our customer base. Very, very proud to have you here. So stats are always kind of a cool way to start also, and this year is super impressive. I said the largest .conf ever. Look at these numbers. 7,187 registrants, over 6,500 customers in the audience. You represent 65 countries. And we love using Splunk as much as you do, so we Splunk everything, and we Splunk this travel data. How many miles flown from this group? 30 million combined miles to get everybody in here to Washington, D.C. We're going to be talking about a lot of big numbers today, and for me, it's hard for my mind to always process these, so let's put that in context. Over the past couple of millennia, man has wanted to travel to the moon, and we were fortunate enough as a human species to get that done in the 60s. Since 1969, we have made 6 round trips to the moon. 30 million miles is the equivalent of 60 round trips to the moon and back. So big numbers. It's always hard to conceptualize those big numbers. Okay, speaking of travel, I want to walk all the way back to 2004. I know it's only 13 years ago, but in our fast-paced world, 13 years can feel like a century or more. So if we go back to 2004, if you're like me, if you wanted your Friday night entertainment on your TV, you are swinging by your local Blockbuster, and there's always one a block or so away from the house, and picking up a DVD. If you're a music file and you wanted that latest hit release, you had to drive down to Circuit City or some equivalent and actually pick up a CD. You guys remember CDs before music just streamed straight down? And that's where you got all your hi-fi equipment, of course. And we were still 3 years away from the introduction of the iPhone. Can you imagine 2004, no iPhones? So if we were talking on cell, and probably most of us were, it was literally a phone, probably a Nokia. Wasn't a lot to do with that, other than that super cool snake game that most of us probably got addicted to. Well, way back in that distant time, the founders at Splunk envisioned building a Google search for the enterprise, a tool that was so flexible, so powerful that you could ask it any question, and you'd only be limited by your imagination. If we look back through history, so much of the amazing breakthroughs, so much of the technology and the capability we have today started in the same way. It started with the power of a simple question. Let me give you an example. Thomas Edison, you guys know who that guy was? Invented many things. One of the things was the telegraph, pretty big breakthrough. He had this question of how do I send a longer telegram? Logical thing as the inventor. But through iteration after iteration, by using his curiosity and invention skills, he actually invented the phonograph. Couldn't have been stopping by Circuit City without that wonderful invention. Thank you, Thomas. Coca-Cola, another example. The question that started Coca-Cola, struck me odd, but it makes sense back in the 1800s. How do I cure morphine addiction? Through a ton of iterations, including changing the core secret substance from an alcohol base to a syrup base, we got that amazing drink that you can enjoy with a friend today. The inventors of these and other great breakthroughs, I'm positive, could not imagine the answers that they would get back when they asked their first set of questions. But their passion for discovery led them there. And this may sound like a stretch to some of you, but I don't think so if I know this audience. But I would postulate that every single person in this audience has got that power in their hands. Each one of you has the capability to be an inventor, because you are the discoverers. You are the inventors. You are the innovators. Whether it's your own career, your department, your company, the world around you, as you ask questions relentlessly. The power to open up a whole new world. Let me give you a Splunk-based example. Let's look at Splunk champion, Mr. Nakamura. Woo! Mr. Nakamura was with an online gaming company asking questions around how do I keep systems performance up? Pretty important thing with the gaming community. You don't want any faltering with the core gaming experience. And through a series of questions, a different one arose, which is why are some of our user accounts being drained mysteriously? Using Splunk, behavioral analysis, asking a lot of questions, they figured out that some users had weak passwords, hackers were intercepting, so they set up simple monitoring and alerting and locked down those accounts for great ROI for the company, but even more importantly, enhanced security for their users. Asking questions, discovering answers, transforming your world, Splunk is simply giving you the platform to help get this done. This morning, we're going to cover ways to continue to unlock your creativity and give you chances to continue to explore. There'll be 3 focus areas of this keynote. The first is going to focus on the community that is the bedrock of Splunk, the secret sauce, I think, behind this company. The second focuses on you, the customer, stories from you. What are you doing to drive those breakthroughs? And the third will cover investments that we're continuing to make in product, customer success across the company so that we can continue to support you in your quest for success. Let's start with the entire Splunk community at your disposal. As I said, this is the bedrock of the company. We all know that success does not just come from software. It comes from the happy customers, the champions, the evangelists that make up an organization and everything around it like Splunk. And I gotta tell you, there is nobody that embodies this spirit than the Splunk Trust. These are the superheroes among our super users. We've all heard from you how influential and important the Splunk Trust can be, so I want to bring it a little bit more to life this year. This group evolved from a group of passionate Splunkers that used to hang out in IRC, contributing knowledge, tips, tricks. They tended to be the most aggressive on filling up Splunk answers with answers. They built some of the coolest Splunk-based apps that wound up on Splunk-based. They are huge contributors to all of us so that we can effectively do our work. 2 years ago, we actually decided to formalize this group, and we formed the Splunk Trust. And while words help, visuals are so much more important in describing things. So let's take a look at Tony Rinke, a real-life superhero and member from the very, very beginning. Why don't you roll the video?
My family inspires me the most to do what I do and be the best that I can be. If Splunk was a superhero, it'd definitely be Superman. Analyze faster than a speeding bullet, data more powerful than a locomotive, X-rays to see the query and the results faster than anybody can think of. I am the corporate security engineer, and I am the Splunk architect for NRC Health. When I was first getting involved in the user group, I was talking with a former Splunk employee at the time, and we were joking around on ways to grow my user group. And he said, you should get a license plate. I do have Splunk on my license plate. I am the Splunk face for Nebraska. It's more than just professional. We get to know each other on a personal level. We are there for each other. We help each other. We push each other. We're gonna have Special Agent Jeremy here talk on FBI and security. There is a small number of people that have the cape, so it's pretty special. Splunk is definitely revolutionary in being able to not only know what's going on with your organization, but being able to move forward from reactive to proactive.
Tony, I love that video. Thank you for allowing that to happen. Since founding the Splunk Trust 2 years ago, we made it a habit to announce the newest inductees at .conf. And we had the induction ceremony last night. We're so thrilled to be growing this elite group. These guys are carefully selected because of their active participation, their technical acumen, their all-around general Splunkiness. You should get to know them. You'll see what I mean. And I am proud to announce that we have 14 new members, bringing the total Splunk Trust to 42. 42. That sounds like the answer to everything. I don't think that was a coincidence. Please join me in welcoming our 14 newest members and the Splunk Trust overall. All right, like the Splunk Trust, so much of this community is ground up. We've got a saying here at Splunk that many of you probably know, let's be a duocracy. If you see something that needs attention, if something that compels you, just go and grab it and make a difference in this world around you. And I know that so many of you understand the same because that's the same way that this community overall operates. Let me give you a couple of examples. In this past year alone, because of your leadership, you have sponsored 167 user groups around the globe. And you've contributed over 22,000 answers to Splunk Answers. I gotta tell you, the odds are super high that in this audience, a whole bunch of you either consumed or delivered Splunk Answers, which means there's gotta be karma points off the charts in this room. Another example, we had a Boss of the SOC and Boss of the NOC contest last night. Another wonderful, great grassroots initiative founded by some adventurous Splunkers who got together, all 8 of them in their basement for weeks at a time to try and figure out how do we grab data and put something compelling together that will help test the security and IT skills of people that are excited about competition gaming and upping their overall game. We ran it last night. It was supposed to be capped at 500. It went well above, standing room only, and I'm proud to announce the 2 winners. 2 winners were Team Last Minute for Boss of the NOC, named because they literally came together at the last minute. They didn't even know each other from different companies, and Team Consist for Boss of the SOC. Congratulations, guys. We're also actively working to extend the positive impact of Splunk in different parts of the world. Last year, we were honored to be up on stage and announce the Splunk Pledge, $100 million for research, nonprofits, and education. And I have to tell you, the energy, innovation, enthusiasm was humbling. Because of you, customers, partners, employees, we have stepped up in a super big way. We've now distributed millions of dollars of licenses and trained thousands of people on Splunk in that nonprofit education and research community. And through Splunk for Good, our charitable arm, nonprofit customers have the opportunity to leverage data to drive social change. One organization in particular, the Global Emancipation Network, is tapping into the power of technology to make a difference around them. Like so many of us, they are a highly curious group of people, and they, like so many of us, they were suffering with data silos. Probably even worse, because so much of the data they needed to tap into wasn't resident in their computers. But through curiosity and through passion, they saw an opportunity to leverage data to fight human trafficking. They're using Splunk to collect and analyze data, to find patterns, to indicate victims, as well as stop the trafficking activity itself, or at least try to. So for a little bit more, let's play the video.
There's a huge amount of goodwill in the tech community, especially in the cybersecurity space, where you spend all day telling bad stories, basically, right, about bad things happening, and it's challenging to figure out how to use your skills and capabilities to affect real human change.
Global Emancipation Network is a data analytics and intelligence nonprofit dedicated to countering human trafficking. All forms of trafficking, that's labor trafficking, sex trafficking, there's forced adoptions, forced marriage,
child soldiering, or domestic servitude.
How big is the problem? No one really knows. The US State Department estimates that it's probably about 21 million people. And the Global Slavery Index last estimated it's probably closer to 46 million people. There are thousands of nonprofit organizations in academia, law enforcement, and government entities that all touch the trafficking problem, but these all act as data silos and they don't share information with each other very well. So we need to figure out a way that we can have everyone host their data on our platform and to begin really sharing with each other.
We take a very much a big data approach, which is we collect as much as possible this gigantic encyclopedia of trafficking indicators. Words, phrases, behaviors, and we can talk about the millions and millions and tens of millions of images we have and tens of millions of text records and so forth. But honestly, you can collect all of the data and telemetry you want in the world, and unless you can properly consume it, build dashboards on top of it, make it searchable and sortable and consumable, then it's of no value whatsoever to anybody. And so one of the things we've gotten from Splunk is the capability to not just store large amounts of data, but make it usable. It's weird to say, but it's true, which is I'm only given one life, and I want that life to matter, and I want that life to matter to others. Personally, I just want to show the technology community that good is possible in the world with what you do, and that we do a lot of good, and we help and empower a lot of different businesses and a lot of different missions and a lot of different human endeavors. But you can also go and tackle true evil with what you do.
The simple power of a question: can I leverage data to fight human trafficking? I gotta be honest with you. When I stood on stage a year ago and announced the Splunk pledge, I couldn't have envisioned that Splunk would play a role in helping to fight human trafficking. Global Emancipation Network is just one example of the amazing stories that we're seeing come forward from the pledge. And I gotta tell you, we are just getting started. And speaking of giving back, Splunk is committed to giving back to those who have served their country. This is a personal passion of mine. I have watched through the years the skills, the experience, the integrity, the work ethic and passion of this talented group of folks. And I feel that it's incumbent upon all of us to build a bridge from this potential workforce of tomorrow to all of our data-driven orgs. I am so honored today to talk about how Splunk is helping to do our part. We are starting today with free training for all US veterans and active military personnel. And working toward a global rollout. Stay tuned. And a big shout out to our Veterans at Splunk group, another grassroots organization who is so instrumental in bringing this to life. Thank you for your service. These are just some of the ways that our community helps each other and helps the world around us. With all of you inspiring, helping, learning, coaching, teaching, you are what's helping this be so much more than just a software tool. So let's transition to you, our customer. As I said during my opening, you are absolutely and truly our inspiration. You have shown us what success looks like. You were tapping the power of machine data long before it was sexy, using it to drive resilient technology landscapes, driving customer satisfaction, helping to increase revenue or differentiation for your organizations. And it's always nice for the vendor to be talking about this, but it's so much more interesting and powerful when the customers do your talking for you. So let's start this journey with the state of Louisiana. You guys probably know it, many of you know it, for its rich culture, its music, its heritage. What you might not know is they have incredibly complex IT infrastructure. But don't take it from me. Let's hear from Derek Williams from the state of Louisiana. Please roll a video.
The state of Louisiana recently consolidated all of their IT departments across the 20 executive branch agencies. Every agency had their own IT department and would do their own IT. So there really was no cohesive strategy across the state to look at all that data, which goes into the petabyte range for us. Splunk has given us the ability to track usage to a degree that we can transparently show any of our customers exactly what they used and what they're being billed for. We've been able to save about $70 million through the IT consolidation. And now we're starting to push down some other paths, really to start looking at, are there issues with the business process rather than just the IT side of things.
Holy cow, 70 million saved in taxpayer dollars. Across petabytes of data, and as you heard, they're just getting started. Moving on to business value next. What a great story of out-of-the-box innovation in the IT segment. But what about security? What's going on with security? Do you guys know that we do something in security here at Splunk? Most of the US-based customers probably have heard the name Aflac, not just for their super funny and cool commercials, but they're a Fortune 500 company with over 50 million subscribers that they serve. Let's listen to Ben Murphy as he tells us how Aflac is going all in with Splunk to manage their security. Roll video, please.
We are using Splunk in a number of ways here, and we started small and have expanded it over the past couple of years. We use it for our executive dashboard and security. We use it for consolidating and coordinating our threat intelligence. And we have also migrated our security information and event management to Splunk from the previous platform.
What a great example of end-to-end security analytics, and I have the feeling you're going to be hearing a little bit more from Aflac over the course of this week. As I said at the beginning, at Splunk, we are as curious as you are, and we love splunking data to try and help us make sure that we're going in the right direction. So over the past year, we've been accumulating a little bit of data to try and get a feel for the impacts that we're having on you and your overall business. And some really interesting stats emerged. Let's start with how our customers have experienced 1.5 million fewer IT support incidents in the past year alone on a cumulative basis. Pretty impressive. In the security arena, we're watching up to 90% reduction in response times to security incidents. And we all know, we've seen it all over the news, that seconds and minutes count when you're facing a breach or another dangerous and immediately addressable situation. 1.5 million fewer IT incidents, 90% fewer faster response times to security. You add those up, and it results in 100 million IT and security labor hours saved. I started saying I've got a tough time conceptualizing big numbers like this, so we translated that to something a little bit more tangible. 100 million hours is the equivalent of 11,000 years. 11,000 years of time saved in the past year alone. All right, speaking of travel, let's travel across the globe to another customer, Dubai Airports. They are doing amazing things with Splunk. Of course, they're enhancing security and improving IT, but they're using Splunk to radically change the customer experience. Let's take a look.
Here at Dubai Airports, we use Splunk Enterprise for managing our data across so many different systems. We've been using Splunk for just over a year. Already, we've made some fantastic strides in measuring our business. For Splunk and Dubai Airports, there's some really exciting work coming up. I'm Michael Ibbotson, Executive Vice President, Technology and Infrastructure at Dubai Airports.
This is an amazing story. We got to bring it to life. So to tell us more, I want to invite the person behind all this innovation, the person from that video, Michael Ibbotson, to stage. Michael, welcome to .com. Hi, how are you doing? So happy to have you here. So you get to invent the airport of the future. What a cool job. How the heck did you get a job like that?
Well, I've been really, really lucky in my career so far, but previously I was the CIO at Gatwick Airport in London, which is the world's busiest single runway airport. And we did some amazing work there, work I'm really proud of. And Splunk was right at the heart of helping us drive throughput and innovation there to really boost the capacity. And then one day, I got this call from Dubai Airports, and they asked me if I could come and do a similar thing for them, but on an even bigger scale, but not only just on the IT side, but they wanted it across all of their infrastructure. And that meant all of the trains, terminal buildings, runways, concourses, everything. So I couldn't turn it down.
It's a great step up. That'd be hard to turn down. And for any of us that love a challenge in the audience, a true dream job. So let's dig a little bit deeper into some of the innovation and the challenges that you're overcoming. Like so many things in Dubai, I know this airport makes a really big statement.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely huge now. We're doing 90 million passengers, or close to 90 million passengers this year. Makes us the busiest international airport in the world. And we know this is going to keep growing. By 2020, it's going to be over 100 million passengers.
Holy cow. Well, you've got a ton of space. You're in the desert, so all you have to do is expand the airport to help with that, right?
Well, that's what people think. But unfortunately, just like every airport, we've now become entirely surrounded by the city. We've got 2 runways. We've built all the terminals that we can. We've built all the concourses we can. There's just no more space. So now that growth has to come through innovation. It has to come through improving process, efficiency, and automation. And also on top of that, we don't want to just be the biggest. We want to be the best. We want to drive customer service to whole new levels.
Well, you're already one of the top 5. How are you guys doing this?
Well, we're doing it with data, and Splunk is at the heart of helping us. We're putting sensors everywhere, all across the airport. We have sensors, amazing 3D cameras for measuring queues, all across the security process, check-in, I mean, just everything, sensors everywhere. And it's really exciting. The next big thing that we're going to be doing is all about energy. Energy management for us is going to be huge, and we're just starting that integration with Splunk now. Our energy accounts for about 2.5% of the entire city's energy bill.
The whole city?
The whole city. And we are aiming, with the use of Splunk and some investments we need to make, to lower this by about 20%. And to put that into context, that's going to save us about $25 million a year in energy.
Wow.
Now, that just goes to prove that, you can be environmentally friendly and it can be great for business.
That's a crazy idea.
And then after that, following that, we're going to open up our Airport Operations Control Center. And that's going to bring together all the airlines, the ground handlers, police, fire, ambulance into one place. And the way we're going to share data across that facility is using Splunk.
I love to hear that, of course. Truly amazing. So as most of us are traveling to the airports, we've seen there's some great enhancements. I now have my mobile app, boarding pass on my mobile phone now. I can skip that security or that check-in line. But like everything in life, the bottleneck has just shifted to security, and that's where I spend all my time waiting now. Being a little bit prescient, we actually polled our Splunk Conf attendees in advance, and you guys told us that 75% or more of you waited at least 10 minutes, and sometimes more in a security line. What are you guys doing at Gatwick to help there? I mean, at Dubai Airport, help there, but Gatwick was good.
We did some great stuff at Gatwick, but at Dubai, our goal has been to get security lines to under 5 minutes for every single passenger. And we know we're doing that because we have the data and we've been recording it for over a year now. We're doing it week in, week out, and we're doing it through lots of really interesting ways. We've got sensors in all the ceilings that are measuring the queues in real time. We can predict what those queues are going to be now, so we can make sure staff are there to open more lanes ahead of the people arriving. We're also monitoring all of the metal detectors and the X-ray machines, so we know what to expect. We know exactly which part of the body the alarms will go off, and we can actually start guiding the passengers with better messaging about, how to prepare, take your heavy shoes off if you're going to Europe, so that everybody in the security line gets through faster. It's going to, it's really making a big difference.
That's truly precise, and I love the technique you guys are taking. So I'm now sliding through security super quickly. Usually when I get to their side, I want to log on to Wi-Fi so I can do some email. Maybe if I'm with the kids, I can stream something down to their devices, but it's always a little bit spotty in airports, and I got to tell you, personally, I'm a little bit nervous about the security posture in the Wi-Fi in airports. Are you guys thinking about that as well?
Yeah, well, our view of Wi-Fi was we wanted to make the best airport Wi-Fi the world has ever seen. We wanted it to be the fastest, we wanted it to be free for everybody, and the real aim was to try and get to make sure that everybody could stream movies, live sport, whatever it was they wanted to do, great Skype calls, whatever it was. But to do that, we have to monitor this in absolute real time. We've got thousands and thousands of people on all of the time. We have to monitor rogue access points getting set up in real time and take them down. And all of the black spots or poor service that might be received in particular areas, we're monitoring real time, and we can target investments in all the different areas of the airport that need to happen to keep driving up that level of service. And the speed test guys earlier this year rated us after 3 months of testing all the airports globally that we were the fastest, and it's a great achievement for us.
Can't wait to fly back through Dubai. All right, so it's clear that you are doing miraculous things as far as getting people to and through the airport, but what about the arrivals piece? When I'm flying into a city and I've got a week-long or more trip, sometimes I'll check baggage. waiting for that bag. I just want to get to my hotel room, I get to my meeting, and sometimes I even get lost, which obviously would be a super negative experience. I'm sure you guys must be doing something here.
Yeah, well, we do, and there's a lot of people coming to Dubai for tourism and for business, and we're a big, commerce hub. And actually, we do as many people in 1 hour in one terminal in arrivals as are in this audience right now.
Wow.
About 6,000. So it's huge. And to back up that, we have this enormous baggage system. It has nearly 150 kilometers of conveyor belts, and it's absolutely enormous. And this year alone, we're probably going to handle in the region of about 150 million bags.
150 million bags. That's another one of those hard stats. But if I kind of do the calcs of the bags times 150 million, that's 3 times around the globe. Is that about right?
Well, that's one way to look at it. But for us, it's a bit more real time than that. Because for us, what happens is that if there's any issue in the baggage system, we build enough bags in 6 minutes to build a building as tall as a Burj Khalifa, which, as you know, is the tallest building in the world in Dubai. This is a big challenge for us. So when we decided we really had to track this in much more detail. So we integrated the whole baggage system, the airline check-in systems, and the ground handler system, so we can see this in all real time. There's about 200 data points collected for every single bag that goes through. We can now predict everything up to about 4 hours in advance, exactly what numbers we're expecting, release any bottlenecks that might have been created. And going forward, we think we can do better than that. So what we want to do is start using machine learning, advanced analytics, predictive work, and we think we can get to 12 to 24 hours in advance. And the real aim, I think, is on your phone, before you even land, you get a message that tells you exactly what time to the second your bag is going to arrive on the carousel. And that's the level of accuracy we want to try and get to.
Wow. Just one more good reason why I'm going to route all my international flights through Dubai.
Yeah.
So now I get off the plane, I check my phone, I know exactly where my bag is, I swoop it up, I've got to call my ride. That usually gives me 2-3 minutes, which for me is just enough time to go in and out of the bathroom. That's usually the last experience that someone has at the airport. You can't be thinking about bathrooms, can you?
Well, you'd be surprised, but we've been pursuing a concept we call the golden bathroom. Now,
the golden bathroom.
The golden bathroom.
It's got to catch you in.
It has. And for us, this is taking the whole bathroom concept to the next level. And we've put sensors all over 2 bathrooms in Dubai airports. So they tell us exactly everything that's happening when the faucets are running, how many basins are in use, how many cubicles are in use, the stalls, the urinals, everything in absolute real time. And then we've been able to study and monitor this data over a long period of time and see how people use it. It's absolutely incredible, but we've learned some really insightful things as well. And some things about our customers' hygiene that we were quite surprised about.
Well, again, being a little bit prescient, we polled in the Pony poll that, thank you guys for filling out, over 1,000 submittals so far. How many of you actually washed your hands coming out of the airport bathroom? And this crew here says it's 99% that washed their hands. How does that fit with the data that you're accumulating, the real life data?
Well, I was one of these passengers arriving into Dulles, and it was the last thing I did before I left the airport was use the bathroom. And I don't know what the deal is with those brown, cheap, horrible paper towels, but
it's not a golden bathroom.
It's not a golden bathroom. We don't have those in Dubai. But what our data tells us is actually it's only about 75% of people actually wash their hands. So I'm not entirely sure that everybody in your survey was telling the truth because the data suggests something else. But we're not sure whether that's due to cleanliness, capacity, or even just some human behavior stuff that we have to work on. But there's definitely a mismatch in the data in terms of what we want to happen compared to what does happen.
We know that data does not lie. Michael, thank you so much for joining us and for making an incredible experience for 90 million people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. What a great story. State of Louisiana, Aflac, Dubai airports. So many of you are leading the charge to drive success inside and outside your organizations. And often it actually results in career advancement. Michael's a great example. He was at Gatwick managing IT, he gets a promotion to go to Dubai, managing the entire airport experience for everyone around him. That's our commitment and our desire for all of you? How do we help all 15,000 plus customers with that same trajectory of success and career arc? As a matter of fact, when I think about customer success, you Splunkers know what's our #1 company priority? Customer success. It's on the top of the poster in every office, on every single floor. Success, we know, is the lifeblood of what keeps someone like Splunk successful and able to serve you. Serving you is the most important priority for all Splunkers. Last year, we formed a customer success group just dedicated to finding new ways to instrument and think through how we can help you. And I'm very pleased to invite Devani Lamas from the Customer Success Group on stage to share what we've been doing with you. Welcome, Devani.
Thank you, Doug. I have the easiest part of today's keynote because all of you are in the same business as I am. No matter if you're a network engineer, a security analyst, or a project manager, you work in customer success. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking to yourselves, no way, that's an entirely different department from mine. But we all have customers, and we get paid to make them successful. Your customers may be part of the same company as you. They may even be in the same team, but we share the same goal of driving outcomes. At Splunk, customer success means giving you the tools that you need to drive success in your organization. Think about if you can relate to this. Your company has taken the plunge. You've made a large investment in Splunk, and it promises to change the way that you work. But you have no idea how to get started, and your boss is impatiently standing by waiting for results. So you have to get moving quickly. Here's another scenario. Every day you walk into Splunk and you love the product. You love Splunk. But there's a little voice in the back of your head saying, you could be doing so much more. You just don't know how to get there. Those questions are why I'm up here today. Splunk customer success exists to make you look better in front of your boss, to get you home to your kids faster, and to provide a perpetual, reliable ally. We've never talked about the customer success team in the keynote before, and you might be wondering, why now? It's motivated by the change you're driving. We never imagined all the use cases you would pioneer, and you trust us with your most important projects. We take that responsibility seriously. So we're making massive investments in customer success, and I think you're going to love them. As Doug said, customer success is the #1 priority at Splunk, and when I was getting ready for this, I was trying to think of ways that I could express to you the magnitude of the investment we've made. So I thought about telling you about the number of people we have in customer success at Splunk. It's over 1,000. Or the number of hours that we spent delivering use cases last year. It's over 300,000. But instead, I thought I would tell you about why this gets me excited and why it gets me motivated to come to work every day. I think the best way to do that is by sharing a customer story. Let's talk about the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. These people are changing lives every day. They're a world-renowned healthcare provider and insurer. They have 65,000 employees, 25 hospitals, over 600 doctors' offices and outpatient sites. They're a big, complex organization. They're leading research in a variety of new fields like regenerative medicine and biosecurity. They're also pioneering information technology applications and practices. They inspire us. We want to inspire them, and we want to make it easier for them to do the life-changing work that they do every day. When we came in, they were already using enterprise security, but they asked us to help them just getting a little bit more value out of their existing investment. So we sent a Splunk security expert on site to work with them to develop and implement enterprise security use cases. That Splunk expertise was immediately leveraged to increase monitoring for malicious activity, which increased SOC effectiveness. We left them with a roadmap of security use cases and in a stronger position to detect attacks. Can we get a round of applause for UPMC? Now that's customer success at a grand scale. But let's consider another scenario. You've been tasked with enabling new users, and you're doing an okay job. But after repeating the same spiel for the 15th time, you've got to wonder, is there a better way? Surely someone has solved this before. Someone once described my role at Splunk as lead listener. It's my job to take your feedback and to build solutions to help you succeed. We want all of you to have the same success as UPMC. So our roadmap is simple. We are launching resources that map to every step of your journey, and we're simplifying and digitizing those resources so you have easier access to all of our expertise. We're focused on 3 main areas. 1, we're making it easier to scale with Splunk. 2, we're making it easier to collaborate with Splunk. And 3, we're making it easier to innovate with Splunk. Let's start with scale. You told us you didn't want to reinvent the wheel when it came to onboarding users and architecting new use cases. So we're introducing a few tools. Today, we're launching our new framework for Center of Excellence. A Center of Excellence is focused on accelerating and maximizing value that you get from your Splunk investment. It incorporates best practices, tools to help you get new users on your system, to help you educate them, to get new data into the system quickly through a great process, and to build a community around Splunk in your organization. We're pairing that with our new Center of Excellence assessment, which is a web tool that allows you to measure your strengths and to identify weaknesses in your organization, and ultimately to map out a journey to get you to the next level. We're also investing in best practices guides and Splunk validated architectures. Splunk validated architectures are something that I'm really excited about because they help you standardize deployments. They provide reference architectures, examples, tier-specific design principles, and ultimately the thing that we all care about, which is ensuring that we're getting the best possible total cost of ownership out of our Splunk deployment. What about collaborating with Splunk? You told us that you wanted it to be easier to resolve support cases. So we're rethinking our approach. We are simplifying the entire process and making it so that when you send us diagnostics data for a case, we're not just looking at the problem you're having today. We're being proactive. We're identifying common issues before they affect you. And finally, my favorite, we're making it easier to innovate with Splunk. You've heard success stories that would inspire anyone, and I want those stories and those successes to be within the reach of everyone here. So our strategy is around telemetry. With Splunk Connect, a new feature that's launching, we're giving you the ability to opt in to share usage information with Splunk. And in a new customer portal that we're launching in February, we're going to give you guidance that uses your anonymized usage data with that of your peers to help you find weak spots, to benchmark against your industry, and to find new opportunities to use the data you already have in Splunk. This is a self-learning system that's going to get smarter over time. And I promise you, as you're sitting right there, there's dozens of other people in this room who are facing the exact same challenges as you. I want to make that mind share available to you 24/7. And I feel a little bit like Oprah up here because all of those tools and content are free. But let's sweeten the pot a little bit more. I want us to be forced to double the length of the keynote next year because we want to put all of your stories up here. So we're giving 300 of you early access to a new program that we call Splunk Blueprints. It's a 12-month virtual program, and it gives you access to best practices, to webinars, to birds of a feather, to success workshops and adoption experts. Our goal is to increase user adoption and to optimize your deployment. And the only thing I ask in return is that you come find me at the Customer Success Studio and take a Center of Excellence assessment. We have an entire miniature army of customer success people at the Customer Success Studio here. And each of them is a carbon copy of me. They're just as passionate about helping you with whatever questions you might have, whether it's architecture, if you want to learn more about the tools I talked about today, or if you just want to try to stump us with your best SPL trivia. We are all in customer success, and this year we're all getting promotions. Thank you.
Awesome work, Devani. Thank you so much. So we all know a big part of customer success has got to be product innovation. And we are investing incredibly heavily in this area. In software, you could even argue that it's all about the product. We are so proud in Splunk of our product teams and the work that they do and how they relentlessly drive to make sure that you keep getting the best possible experience. Last year, we hired a new head of products, Richard Campione, and to showcase the work of the product teams, and they have done a ton of work in between last conf and this conf, I'd like to welcome Richard to the stage.
All right. Thank you, Doug. It is great to be here. The energy in this room is amazing. What do you think? You want to see some product? Yeah? I think so. It is so much fun showing you the great work that the team in the labs have done. And you know, over the last year, there has been a ton of product that we've built. And you know, it's getting to be such a large amount, it's pretty hard to figure out what's really in there. I mean, how do you get your mind around that? So I thought what I would do is I'd start out giving you a framework, helping you understand how it is that we think about what we're investing in and why we're investing in it. And then use that to highlight, just give you a teaser of some of the stuff that we have done. There's so much stuff that we have done that in this keynote, I'm just going to be giving you a teaser. Tomorrow, you come back, hopefully enough to see what we're going to do tomorrow, come back. We will have a more in-depth what we're doing now, but also so much more. All right. To create a great product, you've got to start with understanding whose problem are you solving. And with a product as powerful and as flexible as Splunk, that serves so many people and so many different use cases, this is actually kind of hard to do. I mean, how would you do it? So I think of a canonical ideal user. I think of Sherlock Holmes of the information age. And I ask myself, what does Sherlock need? The first thing Sherlock needs is to become aware that he has a problem in the first place. Now, if Sherlock's unlucky, he finds out because his customer, his boss, someone comes up to him and says, dude, you got a problem. Okay. If he's a little bit luckier, he's got a command line interface. He can type in some magic incantation and figure out he's got a problem. Next step up on the luck spectrum, he's got a pretty screen, a monitor, and he can look at the monitor and see, ooh, I got a problem. Even next step up in luck, he's got a proactive alerting system that tells them, get on it, you got a problem. But the best of all worlds, of course, is when you have a proactive alert that tells you you might have a problem coming your way. How about you get ahead of it and don't let that problem even show up? As soon as you know that you have a problem, now what are you going to do? Well, hey, this is what we all do. This is investigation. This is what Doug was talking about at the beginning. Pursuing question after question. Get to the root of the issue. Figure out what's going on. This requires you have an end-to-end view of the problem, an ability to correlate across a wide range of sources that were never designed to be brought together. And that actually is challenging. Once you've done that, well, then what? Who cares? Somebody cares. You better go tell them. And in fact, you better take some action. Maybe it's shut down the endpoint, maybe it's fix the server, bring the service back up and running. Whatever it is, take action. Now, all of these can be helped with computers. This comes down to pattern recognition. Humans are incredibly good at pattern recognition, it turns out. Particularly the obfuscated edge detection, we're really good at that. But there's other kinds of pattern recognition that humans are particularly bad at. Luckily, computers are good at that. They're really good at large volumes, and they never go to sleep. Well, they shouldn't go to sleep. They're always on. You bring these two together, and it saves time out of your life. Gives you time back to do, well, whatever else is important to you, like maybe spend time with a family. Bringing the two together, well, that's where the magic lies. Pattern recognition, it depends on data. What kind of data does Sherlock need? Well, he needs a lot of it. An ever-growing amount of data, as it turns out. Some of it you may have indexed into Splunk. Some of it may exist in the other systems that you have. And you've got to bring all that together. The availability of data is key so the pattern recognition can happen so that Sherlock can do what Sherlock does. And where does this take place? Some people live on-prem. Some people live entirely in the cloud. But many people have a hybrid existence. And it's really important that these solutions run across the entire spectrum. Very important. Now, as I said at the beginning, not all Sherlocks are the same. With a tool as powerful and as flexible, we actually aim to serve many Sherlocks, whether they be in IT or security, or working with wind turbines, or in chemical plants, or business guys with websites, whether they be in industries like finance or healthcare or public sector. Each of these flavors of Sherlock, they have different questions, different skill sets, different sense of urgency, a different need to consume the data and visualize it. They need to work with different data sets. They actually need tailored, curated experiences to make their job, their life easier, to accelerate that time to aha. So how does this work? So we focus, now I'm going to shift, I'm going to use this framework, and I'm going to highlight some of the areas that we've been investing in to make your life better. Let's start with these curated experiences. Some of these we make, some of these you guys make yourselves, and some of these our partners make. Let's double click a little bit on a couple that we make. If you're a security operations center, if you're a manager in one of these, what do you care about? You care about improving your security posture. And that's really what we're aiming to do with enterprise security. We also bring to bear machine learning here to help identify particularly the internal bad actors, and we do that with UBA. Let's say you're an analyst. Let's say in the last number of months you heard about some ransomware that may have hit. We actually have an app, an essential app, ransomware. It helps you figure out, do you have ransomware? And if you do, what are you going to do about it? Let's say you're an IT operations analyst. What do you care about? You care about keeping your services up and running. And so you want to use your context of all the components that come together to provide your business services so that you can prioritize remediating any problems that may occur, that you can maintain really good health of not just the individual IT components, but the critical business services. That's what we do with IT service intelligence. All right, these sound like some pretty good concepts, but wouldn't it be better to actually see this in action? What do you think? You want to see it in action? I think so. See it in action. Let me introduce Nate McCurvey on stage to help us bring this to life. Nate?
Thank you, Richard. Things go wrong. We've all been there. Problems happen, but often at the worst possible time. It could be an airport having IT issues in the middle of holiday travel. It could be an online retailer on Cyber Monday. It could even be Buttercup Games right in the middle of a keynote. Let's hope that's not the case. Many of you may remember Buttercup Games from last year when we released a new game called Buttercup Go. It was played over 40,000 times during last year's .conf. This year, they have a new game. It's a racing game, and you all are going to get a chance to play it. Some even played it yesterday. But for now, what I want to do is I want to show you how Buttercup Games is using Splunk to solve problems both on and off the gaming screen. Hello, Haiyan. This is our Senior Vice President of Security, Haiyan Song. That USB stick was not there when I set this up. Did you do that?
I did.
Oh, no.
I did because I'm here to serve as a reminder. Just like you said, things always happen at the worst possible time, especially if you're not prepared. But it's okay though. You're prepared, you have Splunk, you have this amazing community sitting right here. Actually, some of them already taken the pony poll to send you recommendations what to do. You're in good hands. Good luck, Nate.
Okay, I guess you're right. I am in great hands. This community is amazing. It's not just the best of software. I think this is the best community anywhere. Over 7,000 of you traveled 30 million miles just to help me. Or maybe it's for the search party. Anyway, let's see what you would do in this scenario if you came back to your desk and there was a USB stick inserted. Many of you would search the raw data with Splunk. Can never go wrong there. More would just update your resume. But the majority would use enterprise security to investigate, and I think that's a great idea. I always have an incident review panel open, so let's go ahead and pull up the incident review panel. And we can see that, yep, very recently we had a threat. It's critical. What created this notable event? It was Splunk User Behavior Analytics. And what did it do? It detected that there was malware activity followed by unusual activity by user Nate McCurvey. Thanks a lot, Haiyan. And it happened right here on this demo laptop. Well, since this is malware, and since ransomware seems to be the most prevalent form of malware, let's go ahead and take a look at the Splunk Security Essentials for Ransomware app and see if we can learn more. This app gives me a lot of base searches I can use to determine things like, were there malicious command line executions? Do I have backups of infected systems? Even, did the perpetrator leave a ransomware note file? Let's go ahead and drill in on this one. And we can see that, yes, I'm not alone. There's 2 hosts that apparently have malware and a ransomware note file, my demo laptop right here, and the Buttercup filer where? The public share, which I have mounted. I could be encrypting everybody's files right now. This is not very good. Let's see where they left this ransomware note file and see what they want. It's right on my desktop. Let's go open it up. Read me if you want your data. Okay. It looks like they want some Bitcoin. Otherwise, they're going to start deleting my data at random. And that's coincidence. They're going to start deleting right when the search party happens. That's not good. I really want to go to the search party. I need your help. Let's see what you guys would do in this scenario. Well, a lot of you would completely and utterly destroy the laptop. That sounds like fun, but I kind of need it for the rest of the demo. And pay the ransomware. I'm right there with you. I'll do pretty much anything to make sure I get to the the search party. Hopefully there's not ransomware there. But the large majority of you say we should just utilize adaptive response and take immediate action. And we can do that right from the incident review panel. In fact, Enterprise Security has suggested some next steps for us. We can immediately block traffic or quarantine the host simply by clicking a button. This is an example of Splunk is utilizing the greater security ecosystem so you can take action immediately. There's fantastic technology out there. Why not leverage it? But then what? After we solve the security problem, what would you do? Well, some of you would just format the USB stick. More would go back to Reddit. A lot of you would play more Buttercup Go at Buttercup Rocks. But the large majority would use IT service intelligence to see if there's been an impact to operations. And that sounds like another great idea. I always have a glass table open of my current operational status. And I can see right away, it looks like we have a storage issue. And I can drill down on that. I wonder if this is because of that Buttercup filer. Log in. We'll drill right down. And I can see all the alerts being generated. But this is a lot of alerts. Alert fatigue. I hate when I have so many alerts. I really wish I could just group all these alerts together, or better, using policies that I define, or better yet, utilize machine learning. And in the newest version of ITSI, you can do exactly that. You can utilize machine learning to group these events together, and then I can see right away that, yes, this did affect the Buttercup filer. So let's step back for a moment. You all helped me identify a security compromise and then take action in minutes, where most organizations take months, 99 days. And then you helped me identify if there was an impact to operations, which could have led to poor customer experience. I know that Buttercup would be very proud. In fact, she might even give me a promotion. To see more of what's new in these solutions, make sure to attend Day 2 keynote. You'll see how enterprise security scales to new heights, is way faster, uses less system resources. And you'll see how other premium solutions like user behavior analytics and IT service intelligence are leveraging machine learning and even more capabilities. But for now, I'll turn it back to Richard.
Right, thank you, Nate. Great job. So Nate just showed you tailored experiences for IT and security flavored Sherlocks. Now let's pull the covers back. The heart of all this is investigation. So what do you think we should invest in terms of investigation? It turns out our point of view is today's impossible scale is tomorrow's table stakes. The fact of the matter is data keeps growing and growing and growing. It's never going to stop. And we need to be able to deal with it. And so we have a team of top-rate, world-class computer scientists embracing this challenge. And it's never going to stop. We're going to keep focusing on this. And this is real computer science, folks. This is not just select the data out of a database and put it up on a screen. Pushing the boundaries of scale is hard work. So let's see what are the guys in the labs been able to do for us. So we focused on search performance. Some of this can be done transparently. Many of you know with really big loads that data model acceleration can dramatically improve your performance. Here we show the performance on 3 very popular and important data models. And what we've seen in comparing last year's .conf release to the new this year's 7.0 .conf release is that we've seen with no change on our canonical load at least a doubling of performance. But it's better than that. We've added new tuning parameters, which will let you take advantage of the full extent, vertically scaling of every CPU core that you have available to you. And in our labs, on our load, we've seen up to 2,000% increase in performance. That could help. Enterprise security is a particularly demanding environment because there are a never-ending load of threats that could be out there. They keep growing. Each of you are looking for different things, different needles in the haystack, which means all of your loads do vary. One of the tests that we do back at the lab is a resource utilization test because we want to make sure we're not just pushing the boundaries, but we're also reducing your cost. And in our test, we saw a 3x increase in performance on that load with a 1/3 the resource utilization. So I really want to stress, just like all those TV ads of cars, your mileage will absolutely vary, but I think it will be a bit better. You're likely to get more done with the same hardware or reduce your costs. That's just investigation, but that's not all. Many of us use Splunk to monitor what's going on. And we're also pushing the boundaries of scale in the domain of awareness. When you push the boundaries of scale, it always comes down to an optimization. An optimization means you take advantage of some condition, some environment that you know. When you're investigating, the whole point is you don't know what questions you have to ask. You don't know what data you're pulling together. That's why schema on read is so powerful. But it turns out, in the awareness game, you do know what question you have to ask. In fact, you're asking the same question again and again and again. And that's the key. You can take advantage of that. And we have. One of the things that people most often want to monitor are what we call metrics. What are metrics? They are simply sets of numerical data points. They come in consistent patterns, the same format at the same rate. Now, that's something you can optimize for. Now, it's important to remember that monitoring isn't the end game. If you have a storm of alerts hit you, you don't just stop there. That doesn't make your life better. You have to then go through the investigation and the remediation stage, which means it's important to not just sample at the end point, throw in some things so you can do monitoring. You must keep the raw data, because that's really important for the investigation phase. But it's not important for the monitoring phase. So in the monitoring phase, you can be clever. You can summarize some of this into the index, kind of like we do with TSTAT, and dramatically improve the performance. But it's not just about how we store the data. It's also about how we get the data in. It turns out there's 1 or 2 people in the world who are working on open source software, and some of that is really good at gathering this kind of data. So we have new native support for StatsD and CollectD to make it easier for you to pull all this data in. Yeah, that's good, right? Once you've got that data in and we're doing the optimization, so what? What we've seen is 20x to 200x increase in performance. Remember the your mileage may vary piece? But what's cool about this is it's one of those things where the more data you use, the better the return. All right, that's some words. What do you think about seeing it in action? You want more of Nate? I want Nate. Nate, let's see this.
Thank you, Richard. Most would agree that Splunk is in a league of its own when it comes to handling event data that may come in unknown formats at unknown rates. But that's not Splunk's mission. Splunk's mission is to be the best at all of machine data, which includes data that's coming in known formats and at known rates. And that's what metrics data often is. So I'm really excited to get to show you that Splunk has now done for metrics what it did for events. And combining the two in one platform creates something immensely more powerful. But first, what are metrics? They're just numbers measured over intervals of time. But these numbers can be any numbers. They could be from sensors such as temperature, pressure, distance to the moon, or they could be numbers that we're more familiar with, such as CPU, memory, and disk, which is what I'm looking at here. This is CollectD data, but it's coming still in event form, which we're all used to. And this is still useful information. I can use this data alone to see, did that malware have an impact on my local system? And sure enough, I can see, once the search finishes, that yes, the available CPUs seem to drop right at the same time that my disk ops skyrocketed because of those files being encrypted. What if I were to run the same search, but this time run it in the metrics index? I'll add it to the dashboard. It's done, faster than I can click. That is amazing. It's incredibly fast. But let's see how much faster. Let's calculate the X factor. We'll compare the two. The metric search in this case was more than 60 times faster. That is really incredible. But this led me to another question. I thought, well, if I search over more data, longer periods of time, is the X factor going to go down, or could it go up? And so I ran this same search over more and more data, longer and longer time ranges, and I got so excited I had to create another chart. When I ran it over 6 hours instead of 1 hour, the X factor was 120, and it kept going up. And you can see, yeah, I see the X factor is increasing. But what I really want to call your attention to is notice the scale on the y-axis. It's logarithmic, which means these searches were getting exponentially faster in comparison. That's huge. I apologize, I get off track. The crazy speed increase really excites me because I know you all are going to do amazing things that you could never do before with Splunk. But let's get back to this issue. I know there's malware on my system, and I want to know exactly what events correlate with the metrics data here. So I'm just going to add some notable events here. And if we're savvy enough, we can look at these, find these timestamps, try to figure out which ones overlay where on the chart. I've always wished I could just annotate events right on top of my other charts. Now you can. So I'm going to look at the same thing, but this time I'm going to annotate with events. And so now, right on the same dashboard, I can see events overlaid on metrics. I can see. So right when my available CPU dropped, right after it, right before it, a USB stick was inserted, thanks to Haiyan. Shortly after, we detected malware and more. Think about capabilities you can do with this new event annotation. You'll be able to correlate code deployments with application performance metrics. Or say there's a new marketing campaign or news announcements, you can correlate that with your health of your services or even your sales data. You may have also noticed that the charting libraries have been updated, so you can change things like line thickness, dash dots, even different legend options. The important thing to take away here is this is the first time we've been able to combine metrics and event data with annotation fashion all in one platform. And that's great for awareness and investigation, but what about scale? What if we had data coming in at a nearly unfathomable rate? Buttercup Games had just this scenario with their latest racing game. Their racing game was generating data in the low milliseconds, and each event had over 200 different fields. I mean, there's 20 events, or 20 fields for each tire coming in every few milliseconds with 20-digit resolution on some of them. It was a lot of data. And to compound things, they had a 24-hour endurance race with 42 different drivers. And so doing something simple, like calculating the average speed of over those 12 hours, could take a little bit of time until they put it in the metrics index. So what I want to do now is I want to have a little race. We're going to race the event search versus the metrics search. And to spice things up a little bit, I'm going to compete against them with the Rubik's Cube. And you all are welcome to as well. You have your own Rubik's Cubes. And so when I click on this dashboard, it's going to open up. The race will begin. On the top, you'll see the events index, and on the bottom, you'll see the metrics index. Roll the Rocky music. Here we go. Well, I know I didn't get last, but did I get first? Nope. Not even close. In fact, I mean, that metrics search went over a 12-hour period, and it's still completed in the blink of an eye. Let's see how much faster this one was. Look at that, 200 times faster. This is incredible. And all of this is powered with a new command called mstats, which works a lot like tstats. But you would never know that because it's hidden behind a macro. I want to see the magic of the SPL behind here. There's no magic. We can reveal macros very easily now. With Command-Shift-E, you will see everything that's behind the macro. But in summary, the real important stuff here is I really want you guys to realize that now with the metrics index, you're going to be able to run searches way more than 20 times faster. And with the ability to correlate this with event data and annotate, you're going to be able to do all new things. But for now, I'm just going to pass it back to Richard.
All right, thank you, Nate. So Nate now has shown you new and improved tailored experiences for specific Sherlocks, powered by 7.0, where we really are pushing the boundaries of scale and improved performance. And who else would like to stand up here and do the Rubik's Cube with that music in front of 7,000 of your best friends? That was pretty impressive. I wouldn't do that. All right, well, what's next? How about we explore how computers can help? Machine learning. Machine learning is kind of a buzz these days. You hear about it. You hear about it a lot. And why not? It's pretty cool. Pattern recognition. We take the best of what humans do with the best of what computers do. We bring it together. Magic occurs. Who wouldn't want that? Well, why don't we see it everywhere? Why is it mainly hype right now? It's because it's difficult to do in practice. And this is the challenge that we're taking on. The first thing you need to do to make machine learning be useful is you have to wrangle the data. And it's as hard as it sounds. They surveyed a whole collection of data scientists, and they estimate they spend 80% of their time wrangling the data. 76% of them say that sucks. It's the worst part of my job. They don't want to be doing that. And these guys tend to be reasonably expensive people. So this is a time-consuming, unpleasant, and expensive business. The good news is Splunk is pretty good at this. I mean, after all, what do you need? You need all the data that's relevant. And Splunk pulls that together for you quite easily, whether it be wire data or app data or server data or API data or web data or the agents. Whatever data you need, we bring that together pretty easily. However, we have added to the machine learning toolkit a data prep feature, capability, that will help it make it easier for you to get this done. This will save you time and money, and for the data scientists in the room, remove some of the less pleasant part of your job so you can get to the fun part of your job. Well, what's the fun part of the job? The fun part of the job is in training. Why do you need to train? Well, because machine learning at the end of the day is just math. It's just statistics. Any old textbook has this in it. That's not the magic. The magic are the coefficients that make it all work. And those are all different based on your environment, your business, your assessment of what kind of incident is detect-worthy and not just a storm, your assessment of how severe is that incident. And you need to train that based on the data and your environment and your business conditions. Now, the machine learning toolkit is seamlessly integrated into all that we do in Splunk. And why is this important? Because the alternative is you are schlepping data from one environment to the next and pulling it in and training models and schlepping it back into your production environment, and that's just a pain. Who wants that? Within Splunk, it's all seamlessly integrated. It works really well together. That saves you time and money, reduces errors, makes it work better. So cool. However, it's still pretty compute intensive, or it can be. And so one of the things we're working on is to help you with these compute-intensive training tasks is, should you happen to have a Spark environment in your neighborhood, well, we're working on leveraging that. So you can really crank out the training. If you want to see more about this, stop by our innovation lab. Now, you've wrangled the data. You've trained it. Who gets the benefit? Well, if you stop right there, it's just a handful of data scientists you happen to know. That's not exactly the impact that we want to have in the industry. We want to take that and make it available to all of you, to every Sherlock. So you've already seen a bit of this, bringing it to bear. You've seen it in the IT world. In IT service intelligence, we have unsupervised anomaly detection and adaptive threshold detection, and Nate showed you reducing the alert storm, all the noise that comes using event analytics to do the aggregation for you. Nate also showed you UBA detecting the bad actor. Yeah, it was Nate. Okay, maybe it was Hyan. UBA detected it. That's machine learning in action as well. But that should be easy, right? No, it's not easy. It's not easy. You need to triangulate MAC addresses, IP addresses, accounts, all kinds of stuff to figure out who is the bad actor. And in my opinion, this really is AI ops in action. But even more powerful, beyond what we're creating for you, you have the power to create your own environments. You have the ability to put machine learning at work into a curated experience for your users. And our partners can do the same. And we've made this even better with a new guided workbench in the machine learning toolkit. This is why I overheard one analyst say, Splunk is doing for machine learning what Splunk has already done for big data. Now this, I think you really want to see. Nate, do you think you can help us?
Absolutely.
All right, Nate, bring it to life.
Yeah. So machine learning really is getting pretty hyped these days. But as Richard mentioned, it can be pretty tedious and take a long time just to get to the machine learning part because you have to wrangle all this data. You have to prep it, et cetera. But what I want to show you today is how you go from 0 to machine learning in 60 seconds. But Richard, I need some data. Can you help generate some data?
I'll give it a shot, Nate, just for you.
Let's see. OK. So Richard's going to start generating some live data. And remember, this is that same data that I showed earlier, where every few milliseconds, he's sending me 200 different metrics, telling me lots of stuff that's going on. I can use this data to analyze various things.
This is serious business, and I need all the help I can get. I think I might be ready now.
All right.
Let's see.
So he's hooking up a heart rate monitor.
Yeah, they want to see how calm, cool, and collected I am.
Or not.
Or not, exactly.
All right.
All right, do I just get going?
Go for it.
All righty.
OK, so now the data is coming in real time. And we can start to analyze this. We can analyze many, many different things about it. We can figure out, analyze data about the track. We can analyze data about the car. We can even analyze data about the driver. But if we want to take it to the next level, we need to predict things. And so there's his live data coming in. You can see his heart rate. You got kind of up there for a moment. All right, so if we want to take things to the next level, we want to start to predict things. So some stuff we could predict would be when are we going to need to add some fuel, maybe change some tires, maybe predict a mechanical failure before it happens and pit. We could even predict when the driver's starting to be fatigued from sustained heart rates above a certain level. There are many, many things you can use the machine learning toolkit to predict things on. Even in the auto manufacturing business, there's even a customer speaking on that at 11 a.m. today. So let's do something different. Let's use the machine learning toolkit to predict who's driving and categorize what they drive like. To do that, I have to start with prepping my data, wrangle it. With Splunk, it's much, much simpler because we can use SPL to format the data however we need to build the model. So once I have my data, I then just select what do I want to predict. In this case, I want to predict the driver, which is the player name. And then what fields do I want to use to help build this model? I'm going to go ahead and select them all. But in reality, you should pick the ones that are most relevant to determining who the driver is, as well as you should find the best algorithm to apply. But this is the fun part of machine learning. This is where data scientists want to get to. Not 80% of their time prepping data. They want to spend their time improving models. And so then when you select all that, you just give the model a name. I'll give this driver linear regression, and we can fit the model. And as soon as you fit the model, you can start applying it to your data, historical or even real time. So that's what I'm doing here. We're predicting the driver, and looks like he's doing pretty average. Richard, would you go drive off course for a minute for me? That doesn't sound good. That's rocks. OK. OK, so we should see this update pretty. There we go. So that looks like you're driving more like a student driver, a bit like Amrit, I suppose. But as he continues to drive and get back on track, it'll start to pick up the tendencies that Richard typically has when he drives, such as, remember those 20 different metrics for each tire at all times? It can figure out how much he's slipping, longitude, latitude velocities, where he is on the track, and so on. And it will start to figure out that this is Richard driving. And there we go. It found Richard, and the confidence continues to increase. And we can jump over to this dashboard and still see the data coming in real time. Go ahead and hit another wall.
Hit another wall.
OK. OK. And so if you think about how you can apply this data into your, into your own life, you could maybe one day start to Splunk your car and see if someone who's driving your car, maybe a child or your spouse, is driving erratically. Correlate that with cell phone usage. And then even maybe heart rate one day. And you could end up finding a way to save lives. Customers are already using the machine learning toolkit to do that. Let's take a look at an example of how Recursion Pharmaceuticals is using the machine learning toolkit.
This is a really interesting and exciting time to be in the pharmaceutical industry. I believe there's a huge wave that's embracing technology. Recursion Pharmaceuticals is an early drug discovery company. Our mission is to treat 100 diseases by the year 2025.
From my experience, Splunk is the only enterprise-level OI system that has a machine learning toolkit, and for that reason, it just seemed like a good fit for us. While we have a lot of really strong data scientists here that any person should be able to implement, and with Splunk, it does make it fairly simple. With the machine learning toolkit applying standard scalar and the PCA algorithm, we could quickly reduce all of those variables down to a single principal component that was most important for us to track. The machine learning toolkit is actually where we first discovered that the changes in volume in our reagents was caused by evaporation and not caused by the number of transfers that were performed. Another great example of where Splunk has given us real benefit is in being able to keep track of all of the different laboratory automation that we have. These are really complicated instruments with really detailed software packages that all generate log files that all get ingested with Splunk.
Every day, whether that's on the data scientist group or the automation or biology group, we're focused on bringing treatments to individuals. I would love to look back and someday say we really made a change.
I suppose that even if you never use the machine learning toolkit, it could still one day save your life because of those who do. But if you are interested in the machine learning toolkit, make sure to check out the sessions and you'll see what's new in version 3.0. You'll also see other areas where we have advancements in machine learning, both in the keynotes, as I mentioned, but also in the super sessions tomorrow, so make sure to attend those. Advancements in both IT and security. But speaking of security, if I recall, a pretty large amount of you wanted me to completely and utterly destroy this laptop that has malware on it. You guys were very helpful to me. I can't let you down. I know exactly who can take care of business. Let's bring him out. What are you guys gonna do? They're going out back somewhere. told you they take care of business, and so do all of you every day with Splunk. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Back to Richard.
All right, thank you, Nate. Some of you may have found that little app on your phone, the conference app, and in there are some games. You get to go network and meet people, and you get 360 points, I think, if I'm right, for giving Deep a hug. And I'll tell you, Deep is much more huggable and lovely in person than he seemed there, but be careful with your computer. All right, so hopefully what I've shown you so far is how we're focused on making you successful. How all the work that we're doing back in the labs is bringing at the platform layer more and more capabilities to all Sherlocks, and at the solution layer, curated experience for specific Sherlocks, and how we're also giving both you and our partners the ability to create your own curated experiences. Now, once again, I only had time for a smidgen, the teasers. We gave you some highlights. If you come back tomorrow, you will see in much more depth what we talked about, but also many, many, many more things we did not have time to talk about. Also, I want to call out for a sneak peek of what we're investing in for the future. Come visit our innovation lab. There is nothing better for an engineer to talk to real people who really use the product. We love it. Please come visit us, see what we're doing. We're working on some cool stuff, I guarantee it. All right, hopefully I've given you a sense of where we're investing, why we're investing, and how it can make you even more successful. The recent strides that we've done to help you turn machine data into answers. I want to thank you, Doug, for letting me share the excellent work that the magicians back at the lab are doing to help you guys all be successful. Doug, over to you.
Awesome. How was that? I really want to thank Richard and Nate for that amazing walk through the product landscape. All right, do you guys feel as full as I do? To recap, we've had a very, very deep morning. We started with the Splunk community and how all of you are making tangible impacts inside and outside your organization. Then we transitioned to you, our customers, and got examples of how you are innovating and pushing the boundaries of Splunk, and how sometimes that can translate to impact on your own careers, like we saw with Michael. And then, as we just saw, a walk across the product landscape to ensure that we can evolve as rapidly, as effectively as your own landscapes are evolving as well. We began this morning with the power of a simple question. And we saw how a simple question has the possibility to turn into hundreds or thousands of questions. And we further went through how often that initial question wasn't the thing that led to the breakthrough. It was the curiosity of the people around that problem, the ceaseless investigation that makes a difference in the world. Thomas Edison's got a great quote. When you think that you've exhausted all possibilities, remember, you haven't. Because you are the investigators. Each one of you, way back, you guys are the explorers. Over there, you guys are the innovators. You are the reason that Splunk was founded and has grown. You are leading the way into uncharted and unexplored territory. And we are here with you every single step of that journey. I want to thank you for your time and attention this morning. Have a fantastic .conf, and hopefully I'll see all of you at the search party tonight. Thank you.
I'm glad you came. You cast a spell on me. You hit me like the sky fell on me. And I decided you look well on me. So let's go, someone knows.